Order.
4th of July?
We
I'll
have
be
a-
out of town if
Okay.
anybody wants
Well,
to.
if you
Is
don't
everybody here? Yes, okay. We have a quorum. Welcome, everybody. I'm sorry we were late. Could I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries.
And this is your microphone.
Yeah, it's so weird.
What's this now?
Okay,
Something?
then we have approval of the consent agenda, which has the work session meetings of May 13th and our Open Meetings Act resolution. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I don't know anything.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second? Second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All righty, our non-consent items. Who is doing the financial report?
Oh, I was gonna say, Nick was.
Oh, there he is.
Nick is off. Nick is off this week, but he has very
Hi,
graciously
Nick.
agreed to do this.
Oh, thank you, Nick.
By the seashore.
I'm calling in from Virginia, but, yeah, so, let me bring this up. Mason, if I could share my screen.
Now, we did do this in the work session, but there were a couple of people missing, so we
Yeah, I
thought we
wasn't
should,
there, so I missed.
we should do it again.
Okay.
All right,
Real quick, this report is as of the end of May, at May 31, 2026, and at the end of May, we are nearly complete with our fiscal year, as the fiscal year ends June 30th. And so at the end of May, we had in our operating account 43.8 million. And in the prior year, we had 47 million. That had decreased about 3.2 million, but as I have been saying for the last few months, that's primarily bond proceeds. So one-time bond capital monies that we have in a bank account that is dedicated for our different facilities projects, and so that's being drawn down. Tuition and fee revenue totaled 5.4 million. And in the prior year, we had 4.7 million. That's grown 14% and has grown a bit over $682,000. State appropriation revenue totaled 14.4 million. And in the previous year, we had 13.6 million. That is an increase of 6% and 778,246 of increased state appropriation revenue. Middle levy revenues totaled 21.5 million at the end of May, and in the prior year we had 19.4 million. That has increased 11% and by an amount of nearly $2.2 million for local mill levy. Other sources of revenue was a bit over $1 million, and in the prior year we had recorded 1 million, and so that's just up very slightly by a little over $26,000 for an amount of 3%. In total revenues, you'll see that in all of our revenue categories we have 44.3 million this May, and then we had 40.3 million in the prior year. That has increased 10% and by an amount of a little over $4 million over the year. And then you'll see that on the expense side, we have our expenses up in IMG for 4%, and they total 39.2 million. And in the prior year, we had at the same time 37.5 million. And so that's grown about a little, almost $1.7 million in expenses. In total cash in bank, we have 64.6 million in all of the different accounts, as you'll see in the detailed financial report here in a bit. And what makes up that 64.6 million is the number I mentioned earlier for our operating account of 43.8 million there. We also have 309,431 of reserved cash for our NMFA bond. And then we have 7.8 million in restricted debt service cash that is restricted to retire our outstanding local geo bonds, as well as a 12.7 million in reserved policy cash reserves. Looking at our pie chart for revenues through May, you know, the revenue makeup has really materialized at the end of the year, and you see that the large portion of this chart here is 49% of our revenues coming from local mill levy revenue, and then our state appropriations revenue makes up 33% of total ING revenue. CTCE is at 4% of the total. 12% is tied to our tuition fee revenue, and so we do have the small slice of 2% from other sources. And so as you can see, most of the revenue to the college is really tied to mill levy revenue, you know, that we receive from the local county. Tuition and fees, I kind of talked about this. Again, 5.4 million this year compared to 4.7 in the prior year, up 14%. Looking at contract training and continuing ed, that total for revenue that is tied to those activities of the college was 1.9 million this May, and then we had seen 1.5 million in the prior year, so that's grown almost $390,000 and is up 25% for the year. State appropriation revenue, again, these are the figures for state appropriations, 14.4 million and 13.6 million in the prior year, up a little over $778,000. Again, this is local mill levy property tax revenue, 21.5 million, and in the prior year we recorded 19.4 million, and that increased a bit over 2.1 million or 11%. And then the other sources number, so the other sources really did stay flat for the year, but in this section of the report, you'll see that other sources revenue total of $1,032,869, $669,700 of that total is related to the investment income for the return on investment, where we have our banks held, our cash held at our bank, and so you know that's a pretty healthy amount of cash that has been generated from you know having a little bit better return on investment for our cash. Our cash in our Century bank account. Actual expenses, this chart, it really does stay pretty much stable throughout the year. And so you see that through May, we have 46% of expenses being tied to our instruction, Exhibit 10, for instructional purposes, and then 12% for academic support, and then 10% for 10% for student services and institutional support, Exhibit 13, 20%, and then plant operations is 12% of the total amount of expenses through the year. And with that, our ING expenditures through May were up 4% from the prior year. and it was, it had increased an amount of almost $1.7 million and a total of $39.2 million. That is compared to $37.5 million at the same time in the prior year. And our budget to actual spend, so this is the amount we had budgeted to the actual expenditures, was 82% of the budget has been spent at the end of May. And that is at 92% of the fiscal year being complete, as we have, finished May, and the last month of the fiscal year is this month in June. So this spending rate is on track, and so there's nothing that is leading us to believe that there's anything to be surprised with at the end of the fiscal year. With that, any questions on the MD&A?
Questions? Go ahead, yes, Lena.
Hi. So I'm looking at the expenses in the table, the summary of revenue and expenditures. In terms of okay, so this is May 31st. Is it me or this microphone is much better? Wow. I feel like I'm loud. In terms of so we have one more month left of the fiscal year. And in terms of the expenses, especially under student services or under physical plant operations and maintenance, it's at 78%. So there's a chunk of money there. Maybe we could hire another plumber to help out fix some things on campus. I mean, look like we still have about $1.5 million here, and 1 month left of this fiscal year that's budgeted that we could maybe fix some of the water fountains and around campus. I'm just pointing out we have money that we budgeted. I am not sure why we have so many water fountains broken on campus, and that we have money. So, and then especially also for student services, we still have money left in the budget. So, just wanted to point that out. Go out and recruit. Go out and, I don't know, fix the faucet.
Yeah, we are, Chair Siegel and Member Garman, we're aware of the different water fountains and things like that are out, and I know that they're on their schedule to be fixed. We've had a lot of projects happening, as we'll see here in the plant fund. I think we've had about $10 million in capital projects, and so it's a matter of prioritizing, but those are on the schedule, and I think that what we had to do first was repair a main really a sewer line that was right there located in the main hall right near our student services, and so that had been the big focus. And Dobby, I don't know if you have anything else on that, if Dobby's there, or Andrea.
Dobby's here.
President, board members. Yes, so those water fountains are about, a set of those is about $6,000 to $7,000 a piece. So we figure that so many a year to budget in so that we're not going over our budget. And as far as where we're at right now, we have spent, Amy said, you don't spend another dime yet until the new year. So as soon as July 1st hits, we get the new money, I'll be able to order in another, I think we still have 10 sets left to do. So we'll be able to get those and start replacing those.
Okay.
But yeah, every year we replace this so that we don't break our budget, because we've got so many things with this 35, 40-year-old building that we've got to keep up with. So
I'm just trying to say is that, we have these big projects that we focus on, but there's all these little things that also makes a big difference for every day's life of the students.
The big projects come from the different
Right.
This is just from our maintenance budget.
Right. We got the money. But they're telling you, don't spend it now because it's the end of the fiscal year and they don't want to complicate their
so
bills.
July 1st, as soon as July 1st hits,
We'll transfer the money over.
We'll be here with bottles in hand.
there you go. All right.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
You heard it.
I heard it.
Okay, any other questions for Nick on that? Okay,
We're not gonna hammer.
continue.
Okay, yeah, just real quick, with the cash and bank report, the side by side, this May is in the green column, and you'll see the comparison. And the numbers I mentioned earlier, 43.8 million this year compared to 47 million in the prior year. That has decreased because of capital projects being completed. You see the policy reserve number together, those combined this year for $56.5 million in cash in those two categories, and then adding on the debt service cash account, 7.8 million, and then our required reserve for our outstanding NMFA bonds of 310,431 gets us to a total in all of the different accounts of $64.6 million. That number is going to go up. Today we closed on our 2026 bond issuance, and so that cash for our bond that was approved by voters in 2023, that final bond sale closed today, and so we'll see $10 million more hitting on the bank account in June. And so in our next couple of reports up in the next couple of months, we'll see that money hit there, and that primarily that $10 million is in place for the completion of the student hub project.
So Nick, on that point, so we now will not have any more outstanding bonds? This is we have others.
Yeah, this is the cash that remember the voters approved $23 million.
Right.
In 2024, we sold the first 13 million.
Okay,
And then today.
we sold the balance.
We closed on the
Okay,
balance of
okay.
remaining 10 million.
Okay.
And so, yeah.
I had to sign like 20 signatures for that.
How did we do? Was the bond sale good? Did we get good value?
Yes, the rates were really good. There was a little worry because there's just been a lot of volatility in the financial markets, and so our bond advisor was not certain before before they placed the bonds for sale if they have a lot of interest, but it turned out that they have a lot of interest, and a lot more than they expected. And so there was a lot of competition for the bonds, and
Good.
and we got a really good rate.
What is that rate?
Oh, off the top of my head, I don't want to misquote
Okay,
it,
just-
but yeah, no, there was really, it was.
Tell
really
us next time.
good. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll get that.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Okay, continue.
So here we are with the ING detail, and again, we've talked about these numbers for tuition and fee, contract training, continuing ed, state appropriations. The total revenue recorded through May was $44,292,225, and the previous year we had 40.3 million, so that has grown 10%. Our expenditures are 39.2 million, and in the previous year we had 37.5 million. That's up 4%. You can see some of the figures for compensation, benefits, and out of our total comp through May we had actually spent 30.4 million And we had budgeted 35.3 million through the year. I would imagine, I think our payroll is, if I remember correctly, about 2 million, a pay period. So, you know, that'll get us closer to the budgeted amount through the end of the year. And expenses slightly down, over the year.
How could that be?
So at 4.9 million this year, compared to 5.2 million in the previous year. That has occurred, it's down 7%. That has occurred because we have a lot of funds in the plant fund that we're using for IT projects. So they're not really hitting here, but they're hitting in the available funds in the plant fund. Okay, any questions on the detailed report here? Moving on to the public service fund, this looks really good. All the categories are in the black and they look pretty healthy, starting with conference center revenues of 368,662, the expenses of 134,655, and the difference is a positive gain of $234,007 for that line item. Kids Campus is really good. We have pretty healthy beginning balance there, but then actual revenues for the year of 1,390,520 and expenditures of 1,317,667. So that's a positive difference there as well. Our firstborn, $533,088 for that firstborn appropriation and expenses of nearly $300,000. And KSFR looks good here with the beginning balance and actual revenues received this year of $474,355 with expenses of $328,495, leaving a pretty healthy difference there for KSFR. And at the end of May, you know, through June it'll change, but a balance carry forward at the end of May is looking like $758,482 would be carried to the net to fiscal year 28. So that's going to be available to, or right around there will be available to KSFR up through the new fiscal year 2028. Any questions on this one?
Yeah, just a quick question on the conference center. That increase, what, over what even our budget amount? It's almost 100,000.
So in our bar, conference center revenues for our budget was $394,678, and we've received $368,662. So that's almost to where we had anticipated. And then our expenditures for conference center were in the bar. Budget adjustment was $157,963 and expenses of $134,655. So I think it's pretty close.
But we had originally budgeted one amount, and then we did the bar. But what changed that really set the increase?
Oh, the increase for
Yeah.
100,000 for the bar.
Yeah.
I think it was. I mean, that's based on trending. But Amy Van Huss, do you have anything that comes to mind as we revise that upward?
Yeah, I don't have anything in particular, but it was based on their current trending as we reviewed the accounts and what's been going on over there.
So it wasn't one thing particular. It was just general increase in usage and rental.
Yeah, I think they're renting out the space a little bit more often over there, so that's the switch on that.
Okay, that's great.
When you
Yeah.
when you say conference center, do you mean Hamez Room, the Higher Education Center, the outdoor space sometimes what gets rented, all that?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Is conference center the right label? but just I wanted to clarify that. Yeah. It's everything.
It's the terminology in the HED
Oh, okay.
reporting manual.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so it is. I'm there with you. It's kind of an interesting line item for that purpose, but yeah, that's how it's titled in how we're supposed to report this on our HED reports.
Okay.
Yeah, so this
Other
looks really
questions?
healthy. In years past, we were always nervous about this fund, but things over the past few years, 2-3 years have really changed and are really headed in the right direction, especially with KSFR. We didn't know how that was going to transition to the college because, we had an operations agreement with the Northern New Mexico Radio Foundation, and then we brought that back to the college. And, of course, we had some of their financial information, but you never know how that's going to happen. But it looks like it's in a really good position now. I do know we had $150,000 of a state appropriation that's also helped out in this category. So,
Did you have another question?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Is there more funds for KSFI that sits with the Santa Fe Community College Foundation, or do you like every month transfer that over to the college budget? Or is there?
Those are, I believe, if I remember correctly, they are reported in this category here for the revenue that they receive through fundraising. So
It does
know.
get transferred over
yeah,
on a regular
do.
basis?
They do also have some other monies on the restricted side. This is just the unrestricted side. But yes, their fundraising efforts are being booked in here.
Okay.
Okay, Nick?
this is the one we always like to review here. The bookstore has a positive gain through May of $14,431. Food services is underwater by the amount you see there, and combined, we're at a deficit of $250,000, and it's beating our projection though through the end of the year of $375,000 for a needed transfer. But yeah, we're still working on this number, and I've definitely highlighted the importance of getting that reduced down to more of a break-even number with our food services, and we're in need of bringing back our partnership with the master's program, because that's of course been a hit to the revenues on here. Of course there'll be expenses that go along with it, but that was, for this year, that was an unexpected change. So still a work in progress here.
But Nick, even when the master's program was buying food from us, it was still underwater. Somehow
It
we
was.
have to figure this piece out. Otherwise, it doesn't go under auxiliary anymore. It should go under public service.
It
I
wouldn't meet the definitions for that.
I understand. I'm just saying we're providing a public service here. We're not. It's not an auxiliary. It's a losing venture, and continues to be for the 3 years I've been on this board. So, just having the master's program back doesn't mean it's going to go above water. Something else has to happen.
It should definitely change.
Yeah.
And they've changed over the management, so we definitely need to I'm optimistic. And I always say I'm cautiously optimistic, but, yeah, nobody wants this to be more in alignment and at a break even than I do. So we definitely need to get this, managed better. And I think we have some things in place that will reduce this for next year.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, does that finish out that?
Yep, and then here's where you see the plant fund. It's very small, but I hope you can see this.
They
The
adjust.
main column is the gray one right here. I hope you can see my cursor. The main column is at the actuals for the year, and the real important part is expenditures. So we have capital outlay expenditures of even more than I had said
16
earlier.
million.
Yeah, really, it's the line item for capital outlay and renewal and replacement, so those two combined are about 12 million. The 3.9 that's a part of the 16 million is the debt payment, so that's really just to pay off outstanding bonds. But the projects are nearly, they're a bit over $12 million for the year in capital projects, so that's a lot for our college and our small facilities team. And so making a lot of progress in those areas. And there'll be more coming up in the next year as we have the Student Hub project, which will be a very large endeavor, and some other projects as well around campus. With that, that's it. Any questions?
I think we're good.
Okay.
ICIP?
CIP, just going over this. This is the.
A motion,
Do we
Yeah,
approve
you did-
the
you
budget?
did.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
Oh,
I mean,
a motion to approve the budget,
the financial report?
the financial report.
Okay. Lena, did you
I make a motion to approve the financial report.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
okay, so the ICIP is a requirement from the New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration, as well as the higher ed department. And they've gotten a little bit more sophisticated compared to past years on our ICIP reporting. There's a pretty nice, what I would say it's a pretty nice web portal where we enter in all of our information. And what we're trying to do is just plan out, and this is always a little bit of a challenging experiment because a lot of things change and a lot of things depend on funding. The funding that the college would receive that is not a completely for sure thing. But what we're looking at and we're asking you to approve today is this plan. And the plan is based on the college's master plan. And what we are really seeing as our priority, we have to rank our priorities. And so that project start year 2028, so next fiscal year, our number one priority is the library and 500 wing renovations, and then renovate film and 500 east wing. And in our work session, we had a bit of confusion over the difference between those two projects. And really as I understand it, and I have my team here in the room, Dobby, Andrea, and Ellen, I believe, are there, so you'll want to help me out with this. But the renovate film is towards the east wing, and there are some 500 numbered rooms, spaces that would be really in that approximate location of the like east wing eatery hallway kind of. The library at 500 wings, those numbered rooms come around to the library side. and are more near our library and OIT help desk location right now. And Dottie, Andrea, if you want to elaborate on that a little bit more.
Good afternoon, members of the board, President Rowley. Yeah, so this project, the film and KSFR area, we actually had a really nice meeting there 2 or 3 weeks ago to show you guys that project. So it really is, the film area is really just KSFR, the film classrooms. Across the hallway, there's 2 classrooms where English and CE is classes are taken. So that's the area that we're talking about with this project in the ICIP. The library section is up the hallway. That includes the help desk, the library, and adult education. So that one has been partially funded by the state. We're hoping to get more funding this year from the state for that one. But the priority here, the film department, is going to the summer hearings this year as our priority 1 project. And we had to include it here in the ICIP in order to maintain all of those requirements from DFA. Any questions on that?
Questions?
So, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So you're not asking for money for the library? I mean, it says year 1 was in 2025. Year 2, are we in year 2 now?
We're in year 2. We received $1 million the year before, and then last year's summer hearings, we submitted it a second time for the additional funding that we required. And the legislature did approve it, so we're really just waiting on the grant agreement to be fully funded for that project.
Yeah, and this is
And we do have local bond as well. Match.
This is the challenge with these projects is for the library and 500 Wings, we went to the capital committee at HAD and we asked originally for $3 million, and then they ended up giving us $1 million because they thought that that's just what we needed, but we asked for the full $3 million. And so when you get partial funding, then you're looking at having to phase it. And then, so we had to go back to them the next year and ask for the remaining balance, and then they funded it in the second year. Now we have all of that funding, but you'll see that all of our planning was based upon getting $3 million right away, and then we had to wait, and so it changes up the game quite a ways. And but the good news is that we're headed in the right direction and have located the funding for that priority 1 library 500 wing project.
So if what you needed was $3 million, why does it say $4 million here on the total cost?
Are you talking about the film or the library?
Priority 1, library and 500 wing renovation.
So we have a match requirement from the state. So the amount shown in the ICIP is the total project cost, including design and everything, and our match. So the total project cost is $4 million. We're getting, I think, about 3.2 from the state overall.
Okay.
That includes the $1 million we got last year. And then we have a match of $800,000 approximately. So that brings us to our total $4 million for that project.
Okay.
Yeah, and the way that the website works is that it records the amount of secured funding, and that's what's presented here, but the total would include your plan but unsecured, so it's a little funky that way. But good catch, yes.
Other questions?
I'm curious, the child care facility expansion, are we adding on to the building?
We plan to. We don't have any
Yeah.
secured funding for that project, but we do have $1 million support from the state for the renovation of 2 of the spaces for new classrooms. So that's what we're moving forward with first. It'll be a phased project. Phase 1 would be that renovation work, and then future funding is what we entered here. We want to make sure the state understands that we do need more funding for the addition. So that's what's included in the ICIP.
Great.
And that's an interesting project, Chair Siegel and members of the board and President Rowley. We've been working with our Kids Campus team, and this is really interesting because up until a year ago, the state never funded these types of things for childcare facilities, and it was just like a no-go, non-starter to even ask for the funding. But with all of the work with free childcare and that policy change from the governor, they've been working kind of in a way to really quickly get shovel-ready projects, which our college is one. And we were sort of out of the blue. Well, we were asked to apply, and we received $1 million from the state for childcare facilities just like a month or 2 ago. So
I thought you were getting federal funding too through Senator Heinrich, no? To expand the kids campus?
No.
no fun,
No federal.
No?
none yet. No.
Why did he come and do a photo op and there was a whole...
We have received
Yeah.
funding, like, grant funding, and he basically just came and is doing a tour to support childcare projects, because as Nick pointed out, this is a real seismic shift, I would say, in our funding opportunities. It'll be interesting to see how this moves forward, because the HED put forward a $10 million pot for childcare, and as Andrea said, Nick said there were several colleges that applied, but the total cost for if they were to fund all the projects for all the applications, like $118 million. And so, UNM got the biggest chunk out of that because I think they are truly shovel ready, like ready to go, and they've got their plans, their design, everything already done. But I think there will be more money available for that coming up because it's such a big need.
Remember, Gerben, we do get federal money for the food program at the childcare facility.
Right.
So, I think that Senator Heinrich supports that, and it's a pretty healthy sum of money for the food that the children have over there.
Okay. I thought there was federal capital outlay money for the expansion, but it's not. Okay.
Okay, other questions? We need a motion approving the ICIP plan. Yes. Is there a second? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, Nick. That's it for you. Thank you
that's
all.
all.
Yeah. All right, have a good vacation.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Jody. I believe you have the next item.
Okay, let's see, I think it was the work session, I proposed some, language for a motion, and, I'm sorry, it was last governing board meeting, and then, the work session, we don't vote on stuff, so now we're back to the board meeting. So, let me, Audrey, did you send the language out to anyone? No? It was Lee? And the
I
language
only
was in
see a
there?
cover
I think
page.
it's just, okay, so
motion
this
is
is the
here.
motion.
Yeah.
I see a cover page.
Oh, and it says it on it? Got it,
Yeah.
okay.
Subject, motion.
Yeah, motion for section
There
1.
it is.
Motion for section 1, the governing board's policies, The board will hire a consultant to advise and assist the board in updating and revising Section 1 with 2 board members participating and support from the College Advisory Policy Subcommittee. And I just called it the College Advisory Policy Subcommittee because I have no idea what, I just wanted to show a linkage between the college and the board. Whatever we come up with is fine. That was just my terminology. So I propose that we
Move it.
accept this motion.
Move it, okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, any further discussion?
Yeah, so why only section 1? We're not gonna hire a consultant to help us with all the sections?
So this, so the board owned Section 1, right?
Okay.
In discussions with Becky, the college is gonna attack Section 2 through 9, and certainly we should come up with a plan and work together on it. I just wanted to deal with Section 1 because that is the basis and the fundamental structure that the college needs for all the rest of their policies.
I
So
see.
that's why we would certainly be involved when the college goes through Section 2 through 9, because they have to come to us for approval, and Becky and her team will certainly be involved in Section 1 as we go through ours. That said, I can elaborate a little if you want me to.
I think we
Chair.
have a motion and a second.
Okay.
We can take a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay,
I did not vote yet,
okay. Are you
because
gonna
I still had another question.
Oh, sorry.
All right, go ahead.
Why are you calling it College Advisory Policy Subcommittee? Shouldn't be a board committee?
So I was
made
just
it up.
trying to explain that.
Right, so I wanted to
I'm-
fix the language of the motion before we vote on it.
Okay, so I don't know what, I was just trying to show that it's lockstep with the college and their advisory board subcommittee. The reason I chose College Advisory Policy Subcommittee is on one of the documents we saw, and I don't know if it was from you, Yash, or from you, Becky, but it had that terminology. So I was like, okay, well, I'll use it. But if you have a different terminology, or if you guys are, should it just be College Advisory Subcommittee or College Advisory Committee? I'm fine with whatever we call it. I'm just trying to show the linkage with the college.
Right, because ours, I mean, it's an ad hoc group, and so the primary members are Yash and me, and then we have Chair Siegel and Member Dittmer participating too as we need them. But we understand it that we'll do the work, like going through things, and then we will be working with the actual owners of each policy group. So they won't be working with everything. They'll, when we're working on Section 7, then we'll have Corey in there helping us do Section 7, and then we'll move on to the others, and then ask the 2 board members to just kind of give us a thumbs up or down, or are we moving in the right direction? Is this what you're kind of expecting? And then that would nothing, that's all just like background work that would have to go to the full board.
And this is Section 1, so the 2 board members are Jody
Right.
and Howard.
Right.
Yeah.
And for that is wholly a board thing.
And so with Section 1, so I will give a little bit of background. I reached out to ACCT, and they actually kind of gave me a work scope of how that moves forward. It's essentially baselining and benchmarking other colleges, looking at best practices and developing policies, and then looking at our policies, right, and the state and national level policy kind of structures, and then giving us feedback and a recommendation. And then what I would do, Howard and I would bring that recommendation back to the board from the ACCT consultant. And then based on that recommendation and what the board votes, we would either, and how we're envisioning the recommendation being is change this policy, don't change that policy, or just do edits to this. Many of our policies, we only have 11 for the board. And they are things like the presidential evaluation, the board evaluation, the code of ethics, things like that. They're pretty standard. They're very standardized. Those will just roll probably right over with minimal changes, right? Maybe just edits. or updating. And then we have a couple that we're gonna have to look at closer. So I don't know what their recommendations will be, but that's what I'm envisioning, just based on our conversations with them so far. So we will bring those back to the board, and then the consultant will help us revise whichever ones. And that's where we would be working with the college on those revisions, because it will affect the college. And a couple of those, like the shared governance policy, I think that's gonna take joint work, right, between all of us. There might be some policies that we need to actually create that we don't have. AI comes to mind, right? We'll see what their recommendations are. Anyways, we'll bring all that back to the board before we do anything. So the first step is just work with the ACCT consultants to evaluate our policies, bring a recommendation back to the board, and then from that and what the board decides, we'll move forward with an ACCT consultant to do that. So that's kind of what is encapsulated in this, the behind the kind of how we're envisioning it being done. But I'm totally open for discussion on it. We just need to do it.
I'm all for it. I'm just hearing subcommittee, ad hoc committee, subcommittee that Jody and Howard is on, ad hoc committee that Howard and Linda's on, or am I being confused? There are two committees.
One is a college committee and one is a board committee.
Yeah, so the board
Which-
committee.
for section
is
one.
Section one is
Okay.
Howard and I, but we'll bring it back to you, right, with whatever.
This is
We're
good.
just kind of leading the charge with the ACCT consultant.
Sounds good.
There's only one committee, which previously had Linda and I on it, and now has Jody and I on it. It's the same committee,
For section one.
This is what I was trying to clarify. There's one committee, not two committees.
one committee.
And can I just say, it's not really an official committee, right?
Yeah.
If one of the recommendations is that we stand up a policy committee, and that's how we should deal with it,
I
right?
see.
That should have board and college and other people on it, then that will be part of the recommendation. We'll go the charter route, and if the board decides that's what we want to do, we'll go the charter route. This is just kind of all the pre-work to get in place, at least a recommendation to bring to the board on what we should do.
Got it.
I know at the last meeting, one of the things I had mentioned is I'm good with this going forward, but I would like to have monthly report backs from the committee to let us know what the progress is, what the general direction we're going in.
Sure.
I think we're totally happy doing that. And we can also bring the ACCT consultant in if we need to. So, but no, definitely.
Well, so do we want to call this another name, College Advisory Policy Subcommittee?
Or
Well, so
task-
that is the colleges. Whatever Becky wants for a name.
Yeah, what do you want to name it?
Do you want that ad hoc? Do you want that, Becky? It's your group that we would work with. That's all that's.
I think our group, calling them just advisory is good. If you want to put ad hoc on the board, just so that it's clear that it's not a standing board committee yet at this time. It's just, like something you've gotten together to work on this project.
We could call it a task force.
Task force, college
I
task
like that
force.
better.
Okay.
I really like that better.
Call it a college task force?
Is that what-
College Advisory Task Force, or on policy or policy task.
Okay, there's two
Policy.
things here. There's the two board members, and then there's the college group policy.
That's the one we're saying, College Advisory Task Force.
Task force, okay.
Right. So that your group is going to work with our group so that we're not like doing totally random different things.
Right, so we're all lockstep, yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay, so it's for section one, the governing board's policies, the board will hire a consultant to advise and assist the board in updating and revising section one, with 2 board members participating and support from the College Advisory Task Force.
Okay, let's table that first motion that we just made with the bad language. All those for tabling? Aye.
Aye.
Now, we're recommending this new language, which changes advisory policy subcommittee to task force.
Correct.
Is that clear, Audrey?
Yes.
Okay, can we have a motion for that?
Don't you make?
I
one?
did make the motion.
Okay, for this,
Sorry.
just
I
now?
make a motion, right, that we change that terminology, but everything else
Right,
stay the same.
and now we have a motion to pass it.
We need a
A
second.
move the motion.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, carries.
All righty. We'll
Okay.
go forth and do good things.
All right.
Can I send you some comments?
Yes.
Okay.
Send me comments if you have comments.
Okay.
Suggestions?
All right, Terry. Nursing program update.
I saw it.
Hello, Chair Siegel, President Rowley, members of the board. This is really kind of a high level, and I can give any details you would like. So really, that's where I'm starting with, and then we can go from there. And I was told specifically nursing, correct? Okay.
Terry, though, just, I actually asked Audrey to send everybody the last Allied Health presentation, which is your broader program.
Yes.
So, yeah, so this is just for, great.
Yeah.
And we'll
when
want
you,
that later. We'll want the broader program later when.
Right, but you all have the last presentation she gave you.
which was last year,
Yeah.
last
on it.
January, I think.
Oh, okay. This is last year. Okay.
Well, the Allied Health was last year. The nursing is this year.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right now.
nursing is in our agenda, the Allied Health, there was a separate email from Audrey
I see.
an hour ago.
Yeah. So this is last. I didn't have a date on it. I didn't know.
12:30, so.
I know,
Okay.
no worries, that was me.
I was like, wait a minute.
This is okay. I'm just gonna relabel it just because I didn't have the date on that.
Oh,
So I
okay.
didn't know that was last year. Okay.
We good?
Okay, proceed
We're ready.
with nursing.
All right, so, you can go to the next one. This is all just basic information, and I like to share it just so that we all have a good understanding that the nursing program is regulated by the New Mexico Board of Nursing. It is accredited by ACEN, and we are also a member of the New Mexico Nursing Education Consortium, so something called NIMNEC. And so when you think about the nursing program, they have all of those entities that they're responsible in reporting to and meeting certain standards, just so that that's just part of what they're doing when they're running the nursing program. So I'd like to share that. Now, when you're looking at job placement and completion rate on our website, it might look a little different. And the reason I'll tell you is because of ACEN, the Board of Nursing, and Santa Fe Community College. We all look at it differently. So ACEN counts completion rate as 100% completion. No dropouts, no step outs, nothing. They just come in, take the program, and complete. They changed that a few years ago. So it looks like we have this, 54% completion rate. And honestly, that's of students who come in and never step out for any reason. And we know that students tend to have lives that interrupt what's happening with them. So our students complete. Generally, our students come in and they complete. They may need to step out for something. I think we've had several have babies. We've had several, there's all kinds of things happening in the nursing program. So if you were to look at our website, that may look a little different, and that has to be outward facing for our accreditor. So it's just something to be aware of. If you look at it and you go, well, why does that number look different? That's exactly why.
So you're saying that you don't count, in that number, you don't count people that take a quarter off, a semester off or whatever?
In that number, they are counted, but it's counted negatively.
Right.
Yeah. And for us, absolutely, a student's going to step out if they are having a baby or there's a death in the family or something occurs that they need to accommodate. And we absolutely accommodate that.
So in this number, is there a maximum number of semesters that you can take? If I came in and I took 3 semesters and then I took 3 years off and came back, no. I'm just
No. So typically it's 150%. So 150% is the general guideline.
150% of the
program.
scheduled time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, so that's 2 years. So typically, if they take more than 3 years to complete,
Yeah.
then you'd start going, what's happening here?
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll give somebody who was an example of a student who was way very close to being on the outside of that. She didn't come to clinicals. Everybody was worried about her. She was found down at home. So her clinical instructor sent a welfare check. She had had a stroke. This student rehabilitated, came back, finished her program, is now a nurse in New Mexico. So when I say we are accommodating, we are absolutely accommodating within the rules that the Board of Nursing have set up for us. So I hate to say, like, these are, when I think about it, I always think of personal stories that are attached to those numbers, because it means something.
So this 90% here is 150% maximum time.
Yes, yep, with some outliers, but yeah.
Can I ask a question on that?
Yes, ma'am.
So cohort capacity, 24 each spring and fall, run four cohorts. You have 4 cohorts of 24, or you have 4 cohorts that have 6 each?
So we have 4 cohorts of 24, but it's because we run a cohort program. We have levels 1 through 4. We run them all at the same time. So, for example, Luna Community College will accept once a year, and they run levels 1 and 3 in the fall and levels 2 and 4 in the spring. We run all of our levels every spring and every fall. Yeah. So there are 4 cohorts of students that are running at any time that we have nursing students on campus.
So 24 in each cohort.
Up to 24 in each cohort. Yes, ma'am. Other questions?
Why the 60% in Santa Fe job placement versus 90? Sorry, it's under your job placement.
So I think what's happened, or what's happened previously, is we accepted students from across New Mexico, and generally there were waiting lists for nursing programs in New Mexico. Since COVID, there are not waiting lists to get into nursing programs at all. There are no waiting lists for pre-licensure nursing programs. Let me be clear, I don't want to talk about graduate programs or any of those programs. So for pre-licensure nursing programs, there are not waiting lists. That changes how students travel for education. That changes what students are looking for. It changes how we recruit. So initially, we would get tons of students from Albuquerque, and they'd go right back to Albuquerque. For us to be able to say they're staying in Santa Fe is a big deal, because we would lose up to 60% back to Albuquerque. So now, something else to take into consideration, the hospitals in Santa Fe are incredible at the services they provide. I'm going to tell you, it's much sexier to go to a level 1 trauma center in Albuquerque. It is much more exciting to work in a NICU. We don't have a NICU in Santa Fe. So there are certain attractions that students think they want to do. So I think those are also things that we're working with and trying to educate students about what their opportunities are. I spoke with a graduate, a few months ago, and she is now working for the Santa Fe Public Schools. She used to be working in the medical intensive care unit at University Hospital. She said, it's not for me. I needed a different pace. I didn't understand what I was signing up for. So when she came back, she's loving what she's doing. She's back in Santa Fe, and she's doing what she loves. So I think there's a lot of that type of education that's happening. If we recruit from northern New Mexico, they tend to stay here. So when I'm talking about 60% staying in Santa Fe, that's a much higher percentage than used to. And we're getting more and more. Our levels of recruitment here from northern New Mexico, I think our last cohort had 2 students from outside our service area instead of 30 to 40% outside our service area. So it's really, I think that focus has changed and it's shifted what we're doing and who we're recruiting into our program.
Terry, I just want to be clear here on the cohort capacity. So 24 actual students each fall and spring.
Yes.
And when you say you run four cohorts, that's divided into four into...
No, that is 24 in each level.
So that means that
Four
we
times
have
24.
90 students.
Right now we have 80 something, I don't know.
In
86.
1, 2, 3, 4.
In
Yeah,
the four
exactly.
different cohorts.
Mhm.
Okay,
We're
I
taking
just wanted to...
24
Yeah.
a semester.
Yeah,
Four times 24.
which is, yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Holy smokes, that's only our second slide. So some of the work that the program has been doing, they really, when we started looking at prerequisites and hidden prerequisites, of course, they found all kinds of hidden prerequisites. So what they did is they took a really close look at what is required for general education for an AAS degree and what is required for the nursing program. They had some very strong opinions about microbiology being included as part of it, which I don't have any issues with that. I think what they did is they looked at it and said, all right, do we need to have Comp 2? No. Do we need to have the health and fitness? Not with a free gym. Are there certain things that we can eliminate? Are there certain things we can include? So they went from 72 credit hours to 69 credit hours. A lot of those pieces were they eliminated some English, they pulled in microbiology. So they really kind of shifted what they were looking at, and they changed our math requirement, which is huge. So our math requirement used to be statistics. For stats, you had to have algebra. And for algebra, you had to test into algebra. So it tended to be a 3 or 4 semester sequence. Math 1130 does not have any prerequisites. You can get directly into Math 1130. Now, something else to think about when you're thinking about preparing high school students to come into our nursing program, Math 1130 is now on our dual credit approved list. And really, I think our biggest hurdle or our next hurdle for Math 1130 is qualifying high school teachers to teach it. And that may be it is a different conversation for another time, but it is also something that will help us expand what we can do. So Math 1130 is used in over 80% of our degrees and certificates here at SFCC. So changing that to a dual credit class is big. It's not a minor thing. So it seems like tick, 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 but it really was a big kind of like push and really thoughtful move about what we're doing and how we're doing it.
Sorry, I missed, what is the advantage of making it a dual credit class?
So if you're looking to recruit from middle school and high school, you want to like, hey, nursing is exciting. This is a wonderful opportunity. This is a profession that you can do in your own community, and you need some direction. You can take it in high school. So it's one of those opportunities if you want to knock out some prerequisites, or actually this is a degree requirement, why not do some of that while you're in high school? Make it count. It's something that they absolutely can do. Is it something that they can get a certificate with? Absolutely. 80% of our degrees and certificates take Math 1130. But if you're looking at trying to get students into the nursing program, and it was a 3 or 4 semester kind of process, then that's 4 semesters of doing all of your math before you can get into the nursing program. That's 2 years if you take summers off. This is something they can do in high school. So it's kind of shifting how you think about it and how you're bringing them in.
What is the name of this course? I mean, is this a
Survey of math.
Okay.
But does that include, I'm a little confused by what you said earlier. Does that include algebra
It does have an algebra component.
and statistics?
It does have a statistic
Okay.
component.
So algebra light and statistics light.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely, but meeting the needs of the program.
understood.
So that, yeah,
Yeah,
I can.
but the needs of the program isn't zero. It's statistics light and it's algebra light.
Absolutely. It's dimensional analysis
Okay.
for dosage.
It's just had to convert units.
Yes,
Fractions.
Thank you, but yes,
I caught it.
yeah.
But I mean, I'm just kind of, so the high school graduation requirement right now is just Algebra 1.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have to take Algebra 1, and then this would be another optional math course that they can take if you could convince the public school to include it as a dual credit. That's what they would,
So
they would have to take Algebra 1 plus this one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, Algebra 1 is
High school,
high school,
graduation
right, not
requirement.
college.
Right. So you're giving them another option, which is nice.
absolutely.
Even though I'd like them to take Algebra 2, but this was
Oh,
fine.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
this is, so the nursing program was very intentional about looking at how do we get students in, making sure they have what they need to be safe practitioners. And they absolutely can be safe practitioners with this. It's very much a very intentional kind of thought process. Yeah.
So Terry, when you say this is a hurdle, who do we have to
The Higher Learning
convince to
Commission.
change? Pardon? What'd you say?
So you have to have 18 credits of upper division math to be able to teach a college level math class. And not all of our high school instructors have 18 credits of upper division math. So that's where you end up hitting those barriers. Now, we're trying to be creative. We're trying to think creatively. It's just making sure we would have faculty. Could we possibly pilot? Oh my gosh, Maureen's going to kill me because I know she's listening. Could we possibly pilot having one of our instructors at the master's program? It's on campus. You know, is there that possibility?
There is. I used to do it all the time.
Absolutely. And it's not anything that I say, it's more, are we filling our classes? Are we, the whole thing. So it's a whole approach. Or do we do something where we do a Friday class and bus everybody in? Anybody who wants to take math 11:30 in the high schools, everybody gets bussed in on Fridays. I mean, I think there are a lot of different approaches, and I'm more than willing to kind of discuss those and kind of hash it out if we're not finding eligible faculty at the high school location, which is okay too. We can look at that. We were running into some issues with getting qualifications from high school instructors, so that became its own issue. I mean,
There's already a shortage of math teachers on the high school level, and they don't have that master's degree that you need. And but can't you just recruit the students to say, come and take this class here?
Oh, absolutely.
Or without it being a dual credit, just tempt high school students to start taking college classes early. That's what I pushed my kids to do.
You're talking about dual credit, though, and you're talking about students in our district. You need to think about who can afford to pay for it. And dual credit is paid for. So you have that's a different piece that you really need to be very conscious of when you're thinking about that. So I had a student this summer who basically said, wait. I signed up for a class, but I didn't do it through the dual credit pathway, and I can't afford to pay for it. So I think it's a reality that our students are facing. So when I think about that, it was very intentional when I was thinking about those pieces. What does it look like? How can we give them something that's valuable to them when they're coming into a program? And with this particular class, it's any program, but honestly, when they're coming into a program, how can we give them really valuable coursework?
Are there any math faculty at the high schools that have the qualifications?
We haven't been able to get all of that information yet. We've been working on it.
It sounds like Becky could talk to Christine
Yeah.
and see.
I mean, I understand that's hard. It sounds like it should
Very
be
hard.
really simple, but they're like HR gatekeepers and
Exactly.
public school districts and,
Sharing that information.
Yeah.
It's a privacy thing. Yeah, she's correct. There are gatekeepers.
And having our faculty go there is also difficult. I know, I've tried that. Yeah. But I like the idea of busing them here.
Well, I think it's just thinking outside the box. What does it look like? I'm absolutely open to those types of things.
Is that math 133 credits, 4 credits,
It's 3.
3 credits?
Which is another thing, statistics is 4, so that lowered, when they
Yeah.
were very intentional when they were thinking about overall credit load. I think they were really trying to say, okay, what does this look like? And can we hold on to that micro?
Yeah. Is there an opportunity for the community college to offer a program for the teachers to qualify for this? So they say, okay, you could take X number of courses here at Santa Fe Community College, and now you're qualified for an additional thing that you could be teaching.
Well, so we don't offer many upper division math classes, and that's essentially what it is. It's
Yeah.
upper division math.
Just a
I mean,
thought.
I mean, I'm not opposed, don't in any way.
No, but it's just a thought of another thing that we could provide to the community.
I have been saying for a long time, we need to have better training for the math teachers
Yeah,
that are at the high schools now.
yeah, I mean, that's my point.
Even if they don't have, I think they need a master's degree in order to teach a college course. But the current teachers at the high school could use more math training.
Well, I mean, and that's an opportunity for them to improve their skills and make themselves more valuable.
Yeah,
But that's not gonna happen coming from our school.
Yeah.
It's gotta happen from
Well-
Not typically,
their
no.
graduates.
But it could. It could.
I'm willing to think outside the box.
Well, that's what I'm trying to
As long as
do.
we're allowed. I'm like, are we stepping on toes? But
Okay, let's keep.
is this the only course that's kind of stopping us from having more nursing students, or?
no, it's one I wanted to highlight to kind of let you know
Okay.
that it was a very thoughtful kind of progression in order to really change that and shift some of that stuff over.
The
could we talk
prerequisite.
about science a little bit since that's.
So for our science courses, I think what we have are two prerequisites for our A&Ps, and I really think we could have one. Most of the colleges in New Mexico require one, and this is another kind of its own piece. We were working on developing a recommendation when our A&P teacher left. We have a new A&P teacher, and so that's another
I'm sorry, A&P?
anatomy and physiology.
Okay.
I'm sorry, you know what, I'm a nurse, and I will use an acronym. So well, call me on it every time, please. All right.
So are you moving the 2 courses into one course?
So it's another discussion to be had with, yes, absolutely.
With the public schools or?
No, with our science department.
Our faculty?
And then higher ed department have to approve it, right?
Well, actually, no.
No?
Mm-mm, not for this.
We're an outlier.
We're an outlier to have these 2.
I see, we already have 2, okay.
Yeah.
Why don't we just get rid of the 2, one of them?
And that is the discussion. That is the,
That's the internal discussion.
That is
that
the
has to
internal
go
discussion
through
that has to
years
happen,
of
that
processing
stopped.
or what?
it stopped when we had somebody leave. She just did 1 semester. Our new one just did 1 semester. I wanted to give her a break while she was spooling up.
So in the next 6 months, we could remove that impediment? Or the next 3
Possibly.
months? Or,
Well, since she's 9-month faculty, I don't think I'm going to be having this discussion with her off contract. Yeah, when she comes back in the fall, yeah, August.
August something.
so we're the only school in the state that has that requirement?
That has 2.
That has the
Yeah.
2 requirement instead of just 1?
And is that because of people passing A&P, so we gave them 2 courses?
That was what was reported. All those decisions were made 25 years ago.
Okay, so, because A&P is tough.
A&P is definitely a tough class, and you need to have some context before you jump into it. Absolutely.
Okay, so
Yep.
we were using the 2 classes to get them through 1.
To get them to where they could take A&P. Yeah.
So you're talking about combining the content from the 2 classes?
No, I'm talking about using either or
Okay.
of those 2 classes as a prerequisite,
Okay.
not both.
So you don't really need both of them? That's your supposition?
Yes,
Okay.
that is my supposition.
Okay.
Okay, continue.
Okay, so recruitment. Since I've spoke about how we had a lot of students from Albuquerque and now there are no waiting lists anywhere, we really needed to focus on students in our area. What does it look like? So they are absolutely going to middle schools and high schools here in our service area. And I think Lucas is doing things like taking a Stop the Bleed arm. Have any of you taken Stop the Bleed? Sure. It's to stop arterial bleeding. It's to save lives. And literally, it's an arm that's spurting fake blood, and students get to practice putting on a tourniquet. I'm telling you, they love that thing. I don't know why, but they think it's the best thing ever. And it starts a conversation that surprises me frequently, and it surprises Lucas. I didn't know Santa Fe Community College had a nursing program. What? What do you mean you didn't know? So I think those conversations are happening more and more frequently, which is a surprise to me, but it's also something that I think it's when you prioritize making those visits and doing that outreach, and then as well, when Daniela reaches out and says, hey, I've got students that want to do a tour, guess what? We drop everything and try to accommodate those tours. It is not convenient, but it really does. You do typically get 1 or 2 inquiries from those tours. What does that look like? Whether it's for our nursing skills lab or our medical simulation lab, definitely. Yes. They have also our nursing program and our other allied health programs are looking at more volunteer hours in the community. What does that look like? Our dental programs have always done it, but what does it look like to go and volunteer? So anytime there is a run, a fun run, we had a fun run here for Mother's Day. Our nursing students were there. Our EMS students were there. And I think when you have our students out interacting with the community, when they're here going, I didn't know you had a nursing program. Oh, you're my cousin. You're my so-and-so. Oh, wait, where do you work? I know who your boss is. This is amazing. And those are opportunities for our programs to shine, but for our students to start to engage with the public in a different way and to see themselves in a professional way, which I think is a huge thing that can happen for recruitment when they start saying, oh, I can volunteer for certain things, I can help with my community in certain things, I can give flu shots, all the things that students can participate in. Yes. And I'm back to the Senior Olympics. I love the Senior Olympics and I love the Special Olympics. So those will be things that I'll be pushing, but I haven't gotten them on board yet. Yes.
This is great. I wish I knew about that. I think that, there's a lot happening over the summer here on campus.
Mm-hmm.
Not only are there middle school and high school students here with camps,
Yep.
you also have teachers.
Yes.
There are some teachers. There's a quantum computing camp happening this week already. Just like, I know you stopped by and said hi for one of my camps, but it's like, if you had told me you'd like to have them come and check out the simulation lab, I'd be more than happy to send them there.
When your camp was here, they're actually doing final testing right now.
Right.
Unfortunately, didn't.
But it's a good idea. What I'm
yeah.
saying is that there are sometimes even teachers here.
Absolutely.
And,
We
to
have
give 'em a
high school and
tour.
Middle school teachers here this week as well for a material science.
Yes. Those teachers are from all around the country, but yeah, I mean, that's why I didn't mention them, but yeah,
Yeah, they're actually-
there's some of them from New Mexico. And you have to stick to northern New Mexico as a geographical area, right? In terms of the community
I'm thinking of
college?
service area, but I'm also thinking of retention in healthcare facilities.
Yeah,
So when you're thinking of, if they live here already, they'll
exactly.
be serving their own community. That is huge. That makes a huge difference. So I think those are things, when you think about intentionality and how you're recruiting and who you're recruiting, you want to recruit from your community because they will come back and serve this community.
But don't we also have a geographical obligation? Like we can't, or does it not apply to nursing school?
No, it does.
It does.
Yeah, that we can't actually, so how come we were getting some from Albuquerque before? Because we're not
There were
supposed to.
waiting lists.
Yeah, they can come here.
Yeah, we can accept students from
We can't recruit, I see, I see.
But this is an intentional, so
Yeah.
part of the reason our shift in admissions has been that intentional recruitment. Definitely.
Okay,
Okay, you ready?
ready,
Admissions.
recruiting, yay.
So we are part of NIMNEC. That is where we can accept students who are dual degree. They can come here and earn their bachelor's degree from UNM, also their associate's degree from SFCC at the same time. In order for those students to be dual degree, they have to meet minimums. So there are minimums for prerequisites, there are minimums for tests, there are all kinds of minimums. Now, SFCC can administer its own associate degree program. That doesn't necessarily include those UNM students. So what we had been noticing is that there are students who were borderline. So for admission to the nursing program, 75% is the minimum overall HESI exam score. UNM also requires 75% in math and English. So it's a 75%. They require 75% on specific subjects. We don't, which is something that's separate for us. But we were also noticing that students who were just below that 75% were incredible candidates. So our nursing faculty decided for SFCC ADN only students, they would do more of a holistic admission. So the program director does an interview with the students and says, this is an opportunity, these were your scores, and we would really like to extend this opportunity for you to come in. And then has a really frank conversation about what it takes to go to nursing school. What does it look like? What kind of support do we provide? What kind of support do they need to have within their world and in their lives? What does that look like? So when they started doing that, they started admitting students that we already know that have been coming to SFCC. We just had a graduate who worked at the fitness center. I don't know, have any of you taken classes from Maya? She does warm water exercise. So she put herself through school working at the fitness center and just graduated with her ADN. And she was one of those students. So all of the students who've had that kind of borderline, they're not quite, now I'm not saying they're taking students who have made a 50% on their math and a 40% on their English. No, but they are definitely looking at students who are borderline, who are strong students, and who are interested in coming here to earn their ADN. Absolutely. And that was another, like, what can we do to bring in more students? What can we do to serve the students in our community? And the students that we've been accepting are students that most of us already know, which I find commendable. I think the other piece for our admissions, we haven't had any wait lists. So anybody who's qualified automatically is somebody who's going to be accepted into our program. Questions? What?
Not yet.
Okay, on to the next. So this is where things, you look at it and you go, wait a minute, what's going on? So this is for the overall years, our admissions for 2023. So the overall year, we had 40, so that's 2 admission cycles of 24. We had a total of 41 applicants. 11 declined admission. They were accepted but declined. Want to know where they went? UNM, because we all lost our waiting lists, and UNM was actively recruiting our students. And so you kind of go, oh, and we also have students who were absolutely unqualified. They haven't completed all the prerequisites. They have really low test scores. There were things that just didn't quite work. Now, if you look at 2023 and compare it to 2026, the number of ADN, BSN dual degree and just ADN only kind of flip-flopped. We have gotten to the point where the majority of our students are ADN only. They want to come in, get their degree, and graduate. It is amazing to be able to take 4 semesters and earn a nursing qualification. 5 semesters you can earn a bachelor's degree, but not everybody can afford it. And that is a huge barrier for a lot of our students. And they really do look at it that way. So we have never placed kind of like a limit on how many ADN students. So our fall cohort that will start this fall, in fall of 2026, has 2 dual degree students. The rest of them are all ADN. So it's been a definite shift.
Is ADN comparable to an RN?
They are RNs. They are eligible to be RNs, yes. They can sit for the NCLEX RN.
They can, and they come out with an ADN.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Do we know how many of them do complete the RN?
So,
The BSN?
No, she said they could sit for the RN exam, I guess?
yes.
So do you know how many do that?
So typically, well, that's in a few more slides.
Okay, never mind.
I apologize. But majority,
Okay.
yeah.
And you help them to pass the NCLEX.
Absolutely.
If they don't pass the first time, you help them.
So
try to pass the
before they
second
take
time.
the NCLEX, what we have done is supported them by helping either paying in total for or partially for their NCLEX prep course. Absolutely. Now, I know that our faculty and our director have done one-on-one tutoring as well. It's not, limited.
So clearly, I understand you're saying that, the finances are important if you want to go on for the BS. Is it possible for them to, after they get their RN and they're out working, can they come back and complete the BS?
Not with us, but they absolutely can. There are RN to BSN programs across the state of New Mexico, and most of them are online.
Okay.
Yes.
And is the one semester, because is it not getting paid by opportunity scholarship or lottery scholarship, or is it their lost income that they're worried about?
Both. So the opportunity scholarship pays a certain amount. Nursing courses at UNM have an additional fee on top of them. It's almost $400 a credit hour. So when you think about that, you're like, oh, it's only 30 credits at $400 a credit hour? And that's not including anything else they need to pay for. It ends up being a significant amount. So that last semester where they are solely going to UNM ends up being more expensive than our entire program.
And you don't have that extra semester?
No.
I see, they have to go UNM.
So
I
that
see.
is something that is, because they're earning a degree from UNM, there is a residency requirement, so they have to earn a certain number of credits from UNM. but most of the prerequisites are being earned here at SFCC.
So what you're doing here is just tracking them, that whether they went on to get that bachelor?
absolutely.
Is that what you're doing
Yep,
here? Okay,
yep.
I see. Okay.
There are students, and they count under SFCC for the Board of Nursing.
I see, okay.
Yep. Any other questions on?
Terry, do we require the test prep, or is that optional
So test prep,
with an NCLEX?
it's not a requirement, but it is absolutely paid for. So we have had very, very few students turn it down. Yeah,
And our NCLEX rate passage is
incredible.
in the 90s?
Yes. So our graduation numbers, just so you know how many students have been graduating, where we're at. Like I said, we're getting many more ADNs, many fewer BSNs, and I think that is just amount of time and money. What does it take to get through a nursing program?
Terry, I have a question. So you
Yes.
said we have 83, was it 84 students currently?
Mm-hmm.
But the graduation rate is like not.
So that's how many we have currently. We went through a time post-COVID where we were accepting 12.
And so we're seeing the results of that.
Yes, ma'am. That's what that is. So those are the students who came in, they're graduating, our numbers are now trending up, which is so much better. Yeah. Yep. Any other questions for that? So our NCLEX pass rates. Why is this important? If you do not pass the NCLEX, you do not become a registered nurse. And the NCLEX is good across all 50 states. So that is absolutely a and in Canada. So just as a FYI, our pass rates are really exceptional. So, oh, sorry. Sorry, Mason. So pass rates, national pass rates for NCLEX pass rates are around 83%, 84%, and we are, well, year to date for this year, we're at 100%, but we're in the 90s, which is really, that's really good. Yes. So when you talk about people going on to take that RN, this is where we're at. This is where our graduates are falling.
So in 2026, 100%, or even 2025, even though you started admitting people who are under the 75%
Yes, ma'am.
score?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. We have found that those students who are right on the cusp are highly motivated. And the majority of them are from Santa Fe.
They just needed some support.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Other questions?
And we're talking about an associate degree that can get you a salary starting
Livable
in
wage.
80,000
Easily.
in the hospital,
Yes.
and that you're going to be making 100,000 in the hospital
Mm-hmm.
in Santa Fe in 5 years.
Yes. And at Santa Fe Press and Espanola Press, they actually have a stipend for people who work there and live here. So if they live in Santa Fe and they work at the Santa Fe Press, if they live in Espanola and work at the Espanola Press, they earn an additional stipend on top of that $80,000. Yes, ma'am.
I remember something last time you presented saying that some students were not taking the test, or is that some other program?
That was another program.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
No, you're
Allied
good.
Health, yeah.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, good. They are taking the test here.
Yes, yes. Any other questions about the NCLEX? Any other questions at all? Oh, this is our last graduating class. FYI.
That's great.
And Maya is on the far left, standing up. Just because, I'm going to be honest, she's one of my favorites. Because I saw her come into herself and grow as a student. And it's been one of those things that you see him going to micro, you see him taking chemistry, you see him passing their English classes, and it's just, yeah, I think it's one of those things that just, yeah, I think is pretty incredible, but I'm proud of all of them.
So there's only 15 in that picture.
15, 2 did not participate in graduation, so there were 17 that graduated with this cohort, yes.
Okay. So 24 in the cohort.
So this, like I said, what we went through after COVID for a couple of years was we had lower amounts. We have not had a full cohort, or we've had one full cohort since COVID. Our cohorts have been around 20 to 23.
And this was people that we just shook their hands a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
So what's next year's projection? But if you get one cohort every semester, you have 2 graduations a year?
We'll have 1 graduation a year, 2 pinning ceremonies a year.
Okay, so then you should have 48, not 24.
And that is our goal.
Okay.
Yes,
So-
absolutely.
So this is considerably below the 48.
Well, this is
The graduation.
one pinning ceremony.
Okay.
So out of
Okay.
24, you think, okay,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. So this wasn't the graduating class, this was the pinning.
yes.
Okay.
I have a question along those lines. So back to the slide that says admissions.
Yes.
2023, you accepted 16 ADN and 10, slash BS and 10A. So you accepted 26 students
Total, yes.
in 2023. Which one in those graduation numbers corresponds to that? Is it the 2025?
Yes, it should be.
Okay, so you accepted 26 total
We graduated 25.
and graduated 25.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I wanted to compare, okay? And then the year-to-date, that means they're not finished yet. There's still more numbers coming.
They'll graduate at the end of the year.
So you accepted, for that one, the 2026, that would be 2024 year? Okay, and you have 33. And so this year, you're hopefully going to graduate some 30, maybe?
Oh, gosh, more.
More? I mean, there's 9 plus 7 here, so there's
Well, that was
16.
for the graduation we just had in May.
Right.
We'll have another graduation in December. Or, like another
Okay.
graduation class that complete. Yeah.
Okay. All right, just kind of trying to figure out, okay, what numbers come, admission versus
Absolutely.
graduation. Thank you.
So what's our capacity for expansion?
So our capacity, we could move to 32 without, we would have to rearrange labs and some clinicals. We haven't had a full cohort in over 5 years. And I'm telling you, we're hitting the pavement. It's not like it hasn't, like we haven't been thoughtful about how are we recruiting? How long does it take to get through the prereqs? How long does it take to get through the program? So all of those pieces have been coming together, and I think they're showing dividends, but we haven't had a full cohort. And I think that until we have a full cohort, I can't see expanding. I mean, I'm happy to. I would.
If you can't get more people in, it's not an expansion.
Exactly.
So is the key more marketing? Is the key more?
I'll be honest with you. I was at a NIMNEC meeting last month. NMSU, UNM, and CNM are 3 largest nursing education. They are not filling their cohorts. It's not happening, and they have much larger populations to draw from. So I'm not sure that if we got out there, and we are getting out there, we're sharing more. Can we get out there? Is it a public information campaign about what nursing does and how they do that? And then I'm going to put on my dean hat, not my nursing hat, and say, okay, what about paramedics? We have EMS deserts in New Mexico. We don't only have nursing deserts. We have EMS deserts. We have,
We should be doing all of it.
we all, yes, ma'am.
But, so, remember this, you should remember this probably, the Johnson & Johnson.
Oh, I love
nursing
those.
ads
Yes,
that
yes.
They paid to run, and evidently it attracted a lot of people to the profession. So maybe we need some legislative money to do a massive
Absolutely.
campaign.
And it is something I have suggested.
Yeah. So let me ask you about the LPN program.
Yes.
What's happened with that?
So I think for our LPN program, it started at the beginning of COVID, and there was not enough focus or faculty directed towards teaching high school students. That is a different beast and teaching high school students to take on a very sophisticated role. It's not high school students learning math 1130. It's high school students learning how to take care of another human being. And those are things that there were definite cultural barriers, and there were definite, when Lena asked about students not taking the NCLEX, 2 of them out of all the cohorts sat for the NCLEX PN. I believe if we were to restart an LPN program, and honestly, NIMNEC is looking at an LPN pathways and looking at funding for those things, so that is something that is on our radar, and it's definitely something that Lucas is involved with. He's on the LPN task force. I am on the Board of Nursing Committee for the House Memorial 36, talking about nursing pathways. So those are all things we're looking at. What is it, other things beside the things we've been talking about here, to bring different people into nursing, and what does that look like for an academic institution?
Well, why don't we have an LPN program in the college instead of doing it in the public schools?
That is also the consideration, but I also believe if you're looking at a nursing program, you are going to need to look at least a director and 2 faculty to run a nursing program. I really, truly believe that you need to think about what does that look like in and of itself, and is it something that we could use to build on in an RN program, or is it a totally separate program? If it's a totally separate program, you need a totally separate director. I think those are things to really consider. Now, in order to do that, it takes 2 years to get it through the Board of Nursing. So to kind of set up that type of thing, those are things that we are absolutely looking at. And so it's partially looking at, you have fewer barriers to admission for an LPN program. You don't necessarily have to have the anatomy and physiology at a level that you would need for an RN program. At an LPN program, you could have it at a different level. You don't necessarily need some of the other things at this level. It's a lower level, so the barriers to admission are much, much lower, and it's much, much easier to get them in. And those are all the conversations that are happening right now as far as having a standalone LPN program.
Here on campus.
How much do LPNs make?
They, right,
55.
oh my gosh, they make more than I did as a new nurse.
It'd be worth it for
It's a
higher
great
paid
job.
jobs for 1 year.
Well, apparently they need them.
Oh,
They need anything. I think they're looking at any kind of approach to get nurses at the bedside. Most of the BSN nurses at the bedside are being recruited into administration. They're being lost to administration. So you're looking at ADNs at the bedside right now. That's in New Mexico. I'm speaking specifically about New Mexico.
well, every month in Workforce Solutions report, there are about 8,000 RN
Yep.
advertised, deduplicated registered
Yes.
nurse advertisements,
Mhm.
and about 2,500 LPN deduplicated
Absolutely.
advertised jobs.
I think we also need to think about working conditions for our nurses.
Yeah, unfortunately, the schools are That's the hospital and other.
No, I know, but it is something
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
makes a huge difference. When you look at what they're putting forth now as far as violence in the workplace against nurses and healthcare professionals, yeah, it's pretty significant.
Okay, one more well, go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead. Well, and Zuby has a question.
Oh,
yeah.
you're right by me. Stacy.
Okay. Oh, I thought you were going. But, is there an outer limit of how big we can grow the program because of limitations on clinical opportunities in Santa Fe?
So I think, so typically what we have done at Santa Fe Community College is we don't limit ourselves to healthcare providers here in Santa Fe. We tend to expand, so we absolutely use SRMC in Bernalillo. We absolutely use UNM. We use the VA. I'll be honest with you, Presbyterian is a difficult nut to crack. So they require about 48 annual competencies for every student that take 4 to 8 hours. That is something that needs to be tracked by every program. They're a little bit more difficult to try to get in and stay in. We definitely use them for preceptorships and the end of our nursing program, but Presbyterian is a little bit more difficult to get into.
Okay, Jody?
Yeah, so as far as recruiting, I
Yes.
think you've done a really good job thinking outside the box, especially on these prerequisites
Mhm.
and things like that. I guess I would just encourage thinking outside the box with recruiting. And part of the reason is having just spent the last 8 years in Santa Fe's senior living facilities, right?
Yep.
I have found many of their staff, especially the care staff, are right on that cusp you talk about, that 75%. They have years of experience.
Mhm.
They share information, right? So they teach each other. And they could almost seamlessly move into a nursing program, but they either culturally or maybe mentally don't even think about. And I have tried to push so many of them towards you over the last 8 years.
So part of
and
what
they can't even get in the door to come talk to you. But if you went to them,
the task force that I am on subcommittee C2, which is LPN pathways, and that is absolutely what we are talking about. What does that look like? If we are bringing in somebody who may not have all the prerequisites they would need for a full registered nurse, but an LPN, what does that look like? What could we give them credit for as far as credit for prior learning, for part of their, so all of those things are discussions that I'll be having on Friday from 1 to 3 p.m. So those are actually active conversations that we are definitely having.
yeah, we have great caregivers.
Mm-hmm.
In Santa Fe. In
Yes.
fact, when my aunt went to hospice, the caregivers that I had taking care of my aunt, hospice tried to steal them. And I'm like, get back. But, you know,
Stay
it's
away.
because they're so good and they're so
Mhm.
sharp and they're so with it, right?
Absolutely.
And they are this close
Yep.
to coming to the school, but they just can't get here.
There also, I think, there's this barrier within nursing, and it's thinking that somebody is less than. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily nurses think that way, but oh, I could never do that. And you're right. It is a hard stop. It is a cultural stop. And those are, when you're approachable and you can sit down and talk to somebody, they go, oh, can I see myself in that role? And yes, absolutely.
They're already really doing it.
Mm-hmm. They're doing so much of it. Yeah.
So much of it, right?
So
Go ahead.
sorry, so do we have like stackable things? Do we have like nursing assistant or certified, what, all those?
They're not stackable within our
They don't,
programs.
yeah.
They're not necessarily, the requirements for a nursing assistant are much different than the requirements for a nurse. So when you're meeting those requirements, it's a Department of Health thing. You know, there are different regulators that kind of regulate those programs. Now, a lot of those skills are skills we could check them off with and give them credit for, or partial credit within a certain class, have them test off on certain skills. Absolutely. And I think those are all the discussions that are being had right now. What does that look like? How can we actually do that and still graduate competent, safe nurses? Yep. So it's a balancing act, but I think it's something that absolutely, yes. We're looking at it every Friday. Sheena Ferguson's like a taskmaster.
Okay, any other questions?
Good, I am so sorry to have taken.
Zuby had a question, no?
No?
He got it.
I think he did.
Okay,
Clinical
quick question,
placement.
just quick. I remember also your last presentation that you said you were having a hard time finding faculty to teach nursing. Is
You
that
know,
an
we're
issue?
actually getting where we need to be. It's getting a little bit easier. So we just had a faculty member retire in May. I think they interviewed 3 qualified applicants last week and made their recommendation. So,
Okay, good.
Yes,
So
so
we
we-
can increase capacity.
and I think what's happening is we're seriously recruiting from our adjuncts.
Uh-huh.
We're having our adjuncts come in and they go, oh, I like this. I like giving to the next generation of nurses. They really do get a lot out of it. They didn't realize how much that was personally gratifying for them.
Great, thank you.
How many faculty do you have right now?
We have 7 full-time nursing faculty.
And adjunct?
I think it's around 7 to 10. Yeah.
Now, a few years ago, we got that $1 million that went into the endowment to help with supplemental faculty salaries. What's
So
happening?
what we needed to do was let that mature. We gave out money right
We
away.
used it and
They
we
let us.
paid it back.
They
Yeah,
let
got
us. We
permission
used it
to
and we
use
paid it back. So I believe we are set up to this year give,
Actually start drawing on the
Exactly.
income
and give a stipend.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right,
Last comment.
okay.
I just saw on SFCC YouTube channel, we have a really cool new video on controlled environment agriculture. So I'm wondering, have we had one for the nursing program, or is this something that could be a recruiting tool too?
That's absolutely something we could do.
Yeah. It's an idea, yeah. If you haven't seen that video, it's really cool. Just got on the YouTube channel, it popped on my feed.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, and I apologize
No,
for all the time.
good to hear.
Great presentation, thank you.
Yeah,
Okay, faculty senate.
we didn't get any, right?
Oh, we don't do them in the summer? So we shouldn't have them on the agenda?
Well, we didn't get anything to read. They might,
Okay,
you'd like to speak,
all right, okay, staff, okay.
but we don't have a report, right? No. Okay.
So let me see if my colleague is here. Is Michelle still? Michelle's gone already. So anyway, good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board, President Rowley. Thank you for the opportunity to present on behalf of Staff Senate. So as Secretary Gurman said, there is no meeting minutes for this meeting here. And let me just kind of read you what I have here. It says, as stated last governing board meeting, Staff Senate only meets once a month during the summer. So in our last meeting was Friday, June the 12th. So those meeting minutes are still being reviewed by staff, and we'll have those meeting minutes to you at the next governing board meeting. So we'll have those updated. It just takes a little bit longer. But I will give you some highlights of our last meeting then. So just a couple of highlights that we had. Vice President Yash Morimoto and Chief Human Resources Officer Donna Castro gave a presentation update on the salary study implementation phases and where we are in the next steps. They also talked about the 1% increase for this fiscal year in 27. Yash and Donna answered questions from staff and reminded staff that if they have personal questions pertaining to their specific situation, to please come and talk to them, especially Donna. And Staff Senate appreciates that the continued process updates from Yash and Donna. as we move forward with the next phases of the implementation. So staff really appreciates that we do this probably every 3 to 4 staff senate meetings. We get updates on this, where we are on this, on the salary study. The next piece that we talked about was, this was for staff, the fiscal year 25-26 performance evaluation process and goal setting process have launched in Workday. And Human Resources has sent out an email on key information and deadline for these performance evaluations, right? There are yearly performance evaluations. The Human Resources Department and Center for Professional Learning are working together to provide training on these performance evaluations through Workday. So everything's been doing, is now in Workday, so we're still getting, staff is still learning how to do these, and the CPL and Human and HR have been working together to make sure to give us the proper training for these. And the next scheduled staff Senate meeting is July the 10th. That'll be our July meeting. And on the agenda item that will be covered in that meeting will be an update on the Student Hub project. So, you know, 2 things that we always talk about in Staff Senate are compensation and our where we're located, right, our office space. So those are 2 big issues always, right? So we're hitting the first one with the compensation, and the second one will be for the Student Hub project. And that's really the only updates we have, and I stand for any questions.
Okay. Any questions? Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For staying around. Okay, Madam President.
All right, I will keep it brief. And the other thing I'll say up front is that I've been gone for 2 weeks prior to this week, so everything I'm pretty much reporting on happened yesterday.
I was wondering about that.
In the last couple of days, but you know, there's a lot all the time. Just one little kind of caveat on the child care project. So what we're proposing to do is to add an infant and toddler class. And so that will expand, you know, and then those kids will move on through our levels and everything. So the initial phase would be to take 2 rooms that currently exist at Kids Campus and retrofit those to where they could accommodate those children. It's like an extra, I don't remember how many, like 22 we could take or something like that.
22 a room or?
No.
22 total?
Total, yeah. You can't, the smaller they are, the fewer we can have. And then the tricky part is that we would be able to do that for a year, maybe moving into the 2nd year, but then we have to have a place for them to go. And so the additional money is to actually add square footage off of Kids Campus so that that new cohort would be able to move through the system, and then we could continue to take that additional number of kids like that moving forward. So I think, you know, we've met to talk about this because, you know, we're committing to making, you know, adding those other two rooms. I think, you know, we'll have the bonding capacity to be able to do it. I do think there's going to be more money moving, you know, capital money that's available for childcare. So we have kind of a scenario-based, you know, decision tree, like on where we could. This is where we'd really like to have the money come from. But if we needed to, we could piece it from our bond proceeds.
But that 10 million we have from HED?
We have 1 million. So what they did is they put 10 million, yeah, but that was for everybody.
That's for everybody.
And they were
We got the 1
encouraging
million.
people to start, you know, new programs and everything. So that money just, we're lucky we got anything because everybody applied for that, apparently.
UNEP had a designation in that bill.
They did, yeah. There was like
Yeah.
4 million of it or whatever that went to them right off the bat because,
We're lucky we got the million.
yeah, they were truly, truly shovel ready. So anyway, that's kind of what we're looking at on that. I do want to report that we have been working on the student government situation, and so we've been really working to recruit interested students, and we have, we believe, a solid 5 right now, which is what our bylaws say we need to have for a quorum so that they can actually meet, conduct business, and, you know, do their thing. We assume that we'll have officers that are selected out of that that group like that, and then we can train them and, you know, get them moving on into, you know, doing their part in our shared governance process. We will have a presentation for the governing board sometime in the fall, probably on the student hub. It's a little bit too scattered yet to have a board presentation, but, you know, right now they're starting, so they're looking at, you know, where the co-location of all of the relevant student services will be, and then that creates some shift in some of the space up into the West Wing too. One of the things I can tell you though that I've seen in the preliminary plans that I think is I really like, and that's that, you know, when you walk in the front door, there's that really wide hallway space, and so the proposal is to use some of that hallway space so it's not such an open, wide thing where there's nothing really there for you to engage with until you get almost to the campus center. And so, you know, I don't really know any, you know, there's various proposals about how that could be used, but I think that is a nice feature of you know, what they're looking at right now. And there are groups, it's a collaborative process. You know, we obviously have a team of architects, planners, designers, and things like that, but then we also have a lot of stakeholders from the college that have been involved in a lot of early discussions, like we have to have this, we easily can give that up, and then also focusing all of this from the student perspective. Today, I joined Jim and Chris, who are, I believe, at a shindig at the Jean Cocteau right now. Screen Ireland was in town today, and so they are they run basically a workforce team for what I understood to be most of European filmmaking. And so they came to, you know, like look at how they could work with the community of Santa Fe, but really to tour our backlot facility and to see that as a potential for, you know, projects that they would be looking at. And I mean, you know, Jim and Chris kind of had them, you know, to where they were talking about, make sure you have this in your contracts with anybody you work with, don't put that in your contract. And so I think, and they were here for, I think, a couple of days. So I think this is a really productive visit and is kind of getting us to the next phase of completing what we're doing with the backlot project, and also really looking at I would call a pretty strong potential client. So that was really good. Chess is working on, with ourselves, like arguing with ourselves kind of, on a data and a BI strategy and how we have to do this. We know we have to do it. It's kind of expensive, so we're looking at how we're going to phase it in and, you know, who's going to pay for what and all that kind of thing that we have to go through for everything that we do. But one of the things that we really have to have for an outcome is so that everyone has like a preserved, clean data lake, but also that we have common data definitions among our colleges, because that is actually something that we pretty much guaranteed HED and LFC that we would do. That sounds like a pretty simple thing, like, okay, a full-time student is this, but we don't all do it the same. We don't all have the same definitions. So we are keenly aware that that means that as we agree on things, some people will have to make changes, and that will have a ripple effect in your reporting, and it may like show up like in federal reporting or something like a big change. And so you can do it. I've had to do it before. You just have to explain it, and it's kind of messy and irritating, but so we're looking at possibly doing that. And then I just wanted to mention, I've been appointed, mostly by Vanessa, I think. There is a state technology innovation board, advisory board, because I know so much about this. And so they're working in aerospace, biosciences, clean energy and water, and advanced computing. And this is really to kind of provide some policy direction for how the state's economic development money can be spent in these areas. And a lot of it has to do with leveraging grants so that they can take federal grants and leverage them with state grants, and then hook that up with venture capitalists so that people can maximize the amount of funding that they can get in some of these areas. But it's a really good public-private opportunity, I think. You know, I'm there as the NMICC representative because we want to make sure that the community college voice is heard in all this, and that we get, you know, we get our fair share. We do have that $6 million. It went to CNM, but CNM is putting out descriptions of technicians for technician training programs so that we can all either, you know, if there's a critical mass in our own communities and a job market in our communities, we could create our own programs. Otherwise, we could send people to different points in the state. But this, Chair Siegel, is what Senator Trujillo was talking about at the beginning or the ending of the child care meeting, where Santa Fe Community College was going to take over the old the Smith's location and run child care for the city. Yeah, I thought Catherine was going to have a heart attack. Anyway, this is looking at like what Santa Fe can do in this space, and do we have the right people? We have involved the Innovation Hub at the Midtown right off the bat. They're very eager to join. They've asked me to join their board too. So I think there's like finally some real synergy in this space, and there are some small companies in Santa Fe. So I think that's an important start. So we'll see what happens from that. And I think that's everything. So I'm happy to stand for any questions.
Questions, comments?
Yes. So there was an outage on campus.
Yes, there was.
And the microgrid didn't kick in. What's going on? What happened? Is that
Microgrid caused it?
or the microgrid caused it? Or I mean, I got a text that says, "Get out of campus."
I think you're right. We need to have
report from
Siemens answer
Siemens.
that question. I was originally,
Okay.
Originally it sounded like P&M had some involvement. Not really sure that's the case. So, but in any case, and all the people that answer questions
they
about the
left.
microgrid are gone.
Yeah.
But
Maybe
it
next
didn't
time.
kick on the way it was supposed to.
Or it kicked on in a way it shouldn't have.
Right.
Okay.
So can
Yeah,
we
maybe
It didn't do what it was
Siemens
supposed
on the next, or whomever we need to.
on the next agenda
to. How about can
for
Dobby
August.
explain it, and then if we need to talk
Yeah.
to Siemens, we
I
can
think
ask.
at this point, this has been going on for a long time. I think it's time for Siemens to come and explain
Cool.
what's going on.
Yeah.
The flow isn't happening.
Well, we'll reach out to them. Nick has the information for our contact there, and then see if we can get them the next meeting.
Which would be
In August? Okay.
because we don't have a July meeting.
And a governing board meeting, not a work session?
Yeah, governing
Okay,
board, so the,
governing board meeting.
I got a text that says there's an outage, get out of the campus. I wasn't here anyway. But I would never got a text that said, we're fine, we're back. Like, how long was the outage for? I don't,
It was late evening.
it's just for that, for that day?
Right.
For the
Yeah, it
rest
was
of
just-
that day?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying, I didn't know how long the outage was because I never got another text that said, everything's fine now,
clear.
all clear.
okay.
It started like 8 o'clock in the morning, long before we kicked people out.
Oh, I see. I'm just interesting.
Okay.
Okay,
so
thank you.
we'll put that on our August.
August
agenda.
board meeting.
Okay, the last thing is that we have a memo from Paige outlining possibly the approach we would take to the districting issue. It's not, this is strictly information.
Well, I mean,
Did you want to say something, Paige? You've probably been waiting for hours.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'm happy to, this was sort of a, very draft marching order, and I thought I might, for how we potentially could, or the board potentially could adopt districting for the board. And I sort of just kind of came up with, as requested, a schedule, what that might look like. At least for the preliminary, I see this in sort of two phases. One is the preliminary work to make a announcement and adopt some resolutions regarding the districting process that we have to adopt before the election. And we have to do this in such a way that is incredibly transparent as to what we're doing, but also we need to leverage some of this discussion that we're having to drum up interest in the new districts where we don't have spots, right? And so it sounded like at the last board meeting, you guys were in general interested in adopting a motion to actually move to districting. Did I hear that correctly from folks?
Say that again?
So it sounded like at the last meeting that there was, in general, a consensus from the board that you guys would like to move to districted rather than at-large seats for the SFCC board.
I guess so I'm agnostic. Yes, I'll make some comments. I can see the value in it. I am very concerned about the disruptive nature of what it could do to the board at this point. And so, to that end, I would like a little more discussion. And a couple points on your memo is, one, you talk about adopting, this is just a comment, adopting a board resolution in July. We don't meet in July, so it would have to be August.
Okay.
But then back here where I'm looking at your chart on the second page, when I look at that and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth column over says, if elected, next term starts. I mean, you have like 3 people coming in a term. There would be 2 people that would be here. You know, the next time there'd be 3 people, and then there'd be an election, and there'd be 2 people. I just think that the way the board operates the best is if we can stagger this, where one person comes in every year or every 2 years. And didn't we have, wasn't there a resolution we were following prior that we had to have elections every 2 years? But anyways, that to have such a big chunk of the board disappear or new people come in, that's really hard on a board. So I guess for that piece, I would like to see if you would think about ways that we could do it that were less disruptive, and maybe people changed over every 2 years and it takes us 6 years to do it. I don't really know, but if you would think about that. And then the second thing I would point out, which I had to go to Margaret to make sure, but my term expires on the 12/31/31.
Not 29.
And
I was going to say that.
Then my next term starts in 32. So it's only one person change out in 32, but in 30 you could have potentially 1 or 3 people change out, and in 2028 you could have 3 people change out, right? The way you have this. So if that could be less disruptive, I'm absolutely not against it, but that kind of disruption to the board really worries me.
Well, this chart is very disruptive because some people wind up being everybody in the same year, and then you got District 5 that does a 2-year term. Is like, this thing is really kind of confusing.
Well, and remember, we haven't even decided that we're going to do it.
I understand.
Hold on. It's going to be disruptive anyway. We have 3 open positions in the next election.
But that's going to be true regardless. That's true regardless.
We have 3.
Yes.
We're going to have 3 positions open.
Yes.
Good.
Right?
Yes.
So that's going to be disruptive anyway, unless the same incumbents come back.
But I think the point is what happens going forward, and I would agree with Jody that having staggered terms so that you're not changing out the entire board, every 6 years, I think is yes.
The way we've had it, yes. So we have.
I don't see how it's every 6 years.
So if you could kind of look around, benchmark page, see how other people have done it, so it's not so disruptive, that would be great.
How to do it.
There's something wrong with this table.
Chairman Pugh, so here's the issue with that. Sutton represented ENMU Roswell, and I sent out this email earlier this month, I believe, where ENMU Roswell got sued for having a non-diverse board representation that did not represent the community of Roswell. Sutton represents ENMU Roswell. And in this matter, in part, the defense was done through the AG's office, but we worked with the board of ENMU Roswell on adopting some of the resolutions. Basically, before litigation could get started on this case, the board simply moved to district, right? That was the cure, to moot the lawsuit so that no damages could be awarded in that particular case. And it was a smart move on their part because they got away relatively unscathed from a financial point of view. But I'm looking back through the resolutions, and this was in 2008, so some of our paperwork on this is a little bit old, but it did look at that point in time, in that particular instance, that the board just started over from scratch. A lot of the board members either, just resigned and moved on, or, basically reran for their new district where they were allotted based on adoption of the Roswell or the Roswell School District with plus. It was actually super complicated, but and a little bit more complicated than Santa Fe Community College. And so, and then I started digging around to see if there was anything else out there that the law related to community college elections is really skimpy. There's laws governing changing over terms and districts related to cities and municipalities and other types of boards. But I could basically only find an attorney general's opinion from 1957 that is kind of on point about what authority a school board or community college board might have in determining how to stagger the terms for going from an at-large election to a districted election. And so what I would like to do for this next step, if you guys aren't ready to make this decision, and I do want to impress upon you that there is, a history of legal risk out there for at-large community college districts of being sued for these particular types of districts, right? Especially if they're not representational of the district. But I think that, if you guys want me to, the way I developed this chart about the terms was the assumption that we would have to sort of rip the Band-Aid off all at once, and would have to sort of just, say, okay, well, for the next election, the board members who are, whose terms are up are going to have to run. And by dint of that, we would be having that district have that election, right? And there's 3 folks, and that is in District 2. And it looks like, and I'm sorry I didn't get the district, the terms correct on this chart. I had information from SFCC that was not quite right, and it sounds like that might be duplicated elsewhere, and so I can fix that. But we can stagger that term a little bit differently, and I can take a look at how that might look. But I tried to stagger it every 2 years. There would be somebody coming up for an election. Or we could try to figure out how to do that a little bit differently. But there's going to be, once you elect people for the new districts, those people are going to have to serve either a 2, 4, or 6-year term. And how those are drawn out, you could just pick straws in order to do that, or we could, I mean, I can go to the county clerk and say, hey, look, this isn't in statute anywhere, but could we just sort of say, for example, keep a board member at large but have other people serving particular districts, which I'm not sure legally that there's any precedence for doing.
Paige, I have a question. So
Yes.
maybe you're explaining what the bottom of this chart is. So where it says vacant district 1, vacant district 4, and vacant district 5, the term expires 12/31/29. What you're saying there is people would be in the position 2 and 4 years, and that would, at the end, give us that staggered piece. I don't think any of us understood that.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, okay.
I think this whole chart is very confusing. But, you know, if we did nothing, and I think in general we've all said we kind of in principle agree with going forward with something here. But you know, if we did nothing in next year at election time, Linda's position and Zuby's position would be normally up. Okay, my position would be up for a 2-year,
4 year.
2 years. There'd be another 4-year election for 4 years. So there's assuming that you somehow we work that out. There's 2 positions, District 2 and 1, 4, or 5 would be up for election for 6 years, and there'd be 1 position that would fall into one of those districts that would be for 4 years. And then the following 2 years, you know, Lena's position and
There's a mistake. There's a mistake.
just Lena's position, right? Just Lena's position will be up for, you know, for one of the districts. We haven't figured out which district that is, but that would be 6 years. And then 2 years later, Jody's position would be up for a 6-year. You know, we essentially half.
Jody's and
It's already.
And mine, right. So essentially, half of the positions would already be on district-based representation at the end of next year's election.
I have a question. Are we allowed to have this conversation because it's not noticed on the agenda?
It is.
It is on the agenda.
It is on the agenda. Yeah, it was
All the way at the
the
bottom.
very bottom.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Exactly what Mr. Howard, Dr. Howard said. I said this table has 2 mistakes on it. First of all is we have 1 position that's going to be open next election cycle that's only going for 4 years, not 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jody's term ends. So there are 2 positions that if there will be elections, they will be termed, their next term starts in 2031. Somebody's taking my position will be 2030, and then there's a 2033 position. I mean, I redid the math here. It's already staggered. If we have elections this coming cycle for 3 districts, 2 districts gonna go for 6 years, 1 district gonna go for 4 years. It's already staggered. I'm all for jumping in and let's do it.
Yeah.
If we wait any longer, then it will not be staggered. Then you have to do this whole artificial staggering.
Right.
But we have an opportunity here.
So, yeah, so after next year's election.
Yeah, then it's a problem.
We're pretty much,
Then you're stuck. You'll have 1 person leaving, and then you're stuck
As long as it's legal for
with 4 people at large.
1 position to be for 4 years with a new district. And we'd have, I mean, which district would that be?
We gotta do this now, otherwise, by the next election, you have 4 people at large sitting at the table.
Yeah.
Instead of already 3 done, they're districted, and then you have 2 more coming in the next 2 cycles.
All right, so
Does that make sense?
I think the
Happy to redo
transition
the table.
process
I'm
needs
happy to
more
redo this table.
And again, you know, board members, the way I sort of tried to write out the time for those sort of particular seats was not based on the actual members' current term, but the district's length of term. So the term of 6 years, even though it says Howard Dittmer is six, it looks like it says Howard Dittmer is serving 6 years, but we know he's really serving 4. That belongs to District 2. So anybody serving in District 2 would have a 6-year term. Anybody serving in District 3.
No.
4-year term in District 2.
Well,
Why should make it complicated? It's not that complicated.
Just want it clarified. That's all I'm saying is we should figure out a path that has the least disruption and introduces that, and we totally all can see it. So, and then I'm for it. But I'd like that first.
Okay.
We should put this on the August board meeting, obviously.
Agreed.
I'm gonna come up with my own table. This is
And
not that
again,
hard.
I am trying to, there are laws here, right? That I am trying to, it may not make sense at this point. And again, I sort of, what I was trying to do was to match the districts to a set of term years based on what election was coming next. That might be how the county clerk advises doing it. There may not be a legal opportunity to stagger it any differently or have flexibility in which positions we decide when they are elected. If we put these districts to a vote in 2029, what we might be able to just be able to sort of determine how many years that those positions serve before they have to run for election again, but we might not be able to mitigate the fact that we're electing at least 3 new people the next election cycle. Does that make sense?
Of course, we have to elect 3 people in the next election.
We have to.
No matter what we do, we're electing 3 people in the next
So,
election.
Lena has said she would draw up a chart explaining what she was talking about and send it to all of us and send it to you. So does that work?
Okay.
And then, once
Nobody
we're all
replied to it.
clear that would work, then we can discuss it, I guess, at the August meeting. I have a question for you. You put in there that Eastern, everybody resigned on the board. Is that the expectation here from you?
No, it is
Okay.
not. That was just a wild circumstance because these folks got sued. So, and what I was saying, with that example regarding the length of the term and the vacancies was, you kind of can't rely on ENMU, which is the only other case that I could really find that was directly on point. Because everybody just kind of resigned and then just decided to you know what I mean? It's an anomaly of a situation. So we don't have a lot of really good case law in this situation. What I am going to do is contact, again, the county clerk and see what her advice is on this particular type of situation. One of the things that is absolutely clear is that we do need to communicate with the county clerk about anybody who is for election in districts 1, 4, and 5. We do need to tell the voters and tell anybody running for election for those spots very clearly how long their term lengths are, so they are not necessarily surprised that they're only electing somebody for 2, 4, 6 years, however long. But what I will clarify with the county clerk is we can't stagger allowing somebody to run for District 1, next election cycle, and then District 4 the cycle after that, and then District 5 the cycle after that.
So I do not think, Paige, that is not what Lena was suggesting. We've got that. So can I ask you, will you please wait to talk to the county clerk until we have a chart that we can talk with you about? And that way we have a solution for the county clerk before the county clerk gives us a solution.
Right.
Perhaps that we all agree with, okay? And I don't think, nobody is against this. Nobody doesn't want those 3 districts to go out there at the same time, okay? So I don't think any of those are an issue. We just want to be clear about the path forward.
And we definitely don't want to customize this to keep the incumbents here. I mean, we're all ready to do this the right way.
We might all be ready to resign.
And if it will make your whole district easier, I'm happy to resign. But I mean, but we already have 3 positions open. It's so easy, and 2 of us are in the same district. So all we have to do is pick 3 out of 4 districts and say we're open for election, and decide on one of those districts to be a 4-year term.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
And the other 2 going to be 6-year term. And then we have the staggering naturally happening.
And Lena's going to make us a chart
I'll
that
make
is
a table.
so clear it can't be misconstrued.
Is the one you sent me a Word file, or is it?
Okay. And everybody, when Lena sends
I'll
this
make a
out,
table.
nobody reply all, because that's rolling quorum.
Right. Got it.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said, when Lena sends this out, nobody do reply all, because
I will not, don't
that's
reply.
rolling quorum.
Crickets.
Okay, thank you very much, Paige.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anything else? Then I would like to have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?